I generally go into the second document, which is 10 things that you need to know about your property taxes in Texas. Number one, and there's a reason it's number one, your property tax appraisal is required by law to be at 100% of market value and, underlined, be equitable in comparison to the tax appraisals of similar properties. It's a two-pronged test if you manage to check both the boxes. It's a two-pronged test. The first measure might be, what is the real market value of your house? Well, I just paid $325 for it, and they got it appraised at $315. I mean, it's a pretty hard argument. I mean, yeah, I could say you paid too much, you know, an uninformed buyer. I discovered things after I bought it that I didn't know when I bought it. I'm suing the seller. but that's a market value issue that's very hard to win because you just set the market value by paying that. So if in 2007 you paid $325 for it and it comes out at $315, don't be surprised. But that's not the end of the fight. There's another test. Is that $315,000, is that equitable in comparison to the appraisals of other homes that are just like yours that didn't sell? That's the equity test. And that's a really hard one for a taxpayer to do because you don't have access to the kinds of data in any kind of timely fashion to find those equity comparables. We have developed, myself and ProTax, the guys over there, over the last 10 years, a really spiffy system where we can push a button and compare your house to the tax appraisals of every house in the county if we wanted to, but every house in your neighborhood. We can do that just like that, so don't spend a ton of time doing that. I can provide that to you. I'll do it for free. I'm really fast on the emails, although I've made this promise at our last thing, and I apologize. We just got overwhelmed. I mean, I have had literally almost 1,000 people contact me that I don't know who they are this year and asking for me to provide those free things. So I'll do better with it next year. You had a question, ma'am?
I took one of the comps that he has on his website. He emailed me some, and I took it to Williams & Coney, and they said these are the prices that are going right now. You need to bring me prices from the January 1st, from last year.
Was the comparables, who provided those to you? The comps you're talking about?
Yeah, because I the one who
Ken?
Yeah, I asked someone through the email. He sent it. I took and I said, and I know my neighbor the price that he sold, and I took it and said, yeah, your neighbor sold in February, and we are not taking that as a comparable. We're going to take all the way was sold before February.
Excellent question, and I'll repeat it for the benefit of everyone here. That is, she contacted a realtor. Her realtor jumped right up and did the right thing, sent her comparables. These are recent sales in the neighborhood or current offerings. We're in May right now, though, and as I said, the effective date of the appraisals is January 1st. So what the appraisers do uniformly throughout Texas is they look backwards 1 year. So they use sales from 2007 to set the 2008 value. Typically, they will go on into 2008 because properties are being marketed in December that don't close until February or even March. So typically, they will allow comparables from January and February that closed then to be used as an indicator of value as of January 1st. Yes, ma'am.
And they say that they don't take foreclosures as a comp.
Boy, I haven't heard that before. She says that that the appraisal district rejects comparables that are foreclosures. An ongoing fight. When do foreclosures actually impact the market value of your house? It is the long-held position of the tax appraisal people that a foreclosure sale is not an arm's-length transaction. That you have a very highly motivated seller who will sell below what they call market value. In addition, it cuts into their tax roll, and they don't want to lower the values. That's just a natural reluctance on their part. And I will tell you that what happened in Travis back in, how many were here in 89, 88, 89? Oh my gosh. There was blood in the streets. I mean, you could buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 or 2,000 foot house in Millwood for $40,000. in 1989. Many people did and are still renting them out. And then in that case, the foreclosures were the market. If you were a homeowner and you were trying to sell your house, you were competing directly with the market that was nothing but bank-held assets that were being sold at really, really low prices. And so what the appraisal district eventually adopted, ma'am, in answer to your question, is they would consider, if you have a certain percentage, and we're not sure what that is, say a third of the houses in your subdivision of the sales in the last year are bank-owned property. 25%, a third of it. Clearly, a huge chunk of the market is bank-owned property. What they'll do is they'll generally allow you to introduce that as evidence plus a bump. And that bump is negotiable. It is anywhere between 10, 15, 20% that they will add to the sale price of that house and then use that inflated price to throw into the mix to indicate the value of your house. And what I have found is that in my analysis, and what Ken mentioned earlier, I do each annually make a presentation to the Appraisal Review Board at Travis County on the MLS sales from the prior year and try to give them an overview of what I see in the market. In general, what I'm finding in some neighborhoods is a two-tier market. Clearly, I mean, you've got bank-owned assets that are for sale at somewhat discounted prices, not like we saw in previous years. I mean, we're talking 20% below, maybe 15, really. But a completely separate market that's owner-occupied. I mean, the owner-occupied properties clearly are in better condition, have more amenities, their yards are nice, they're ready to sell, versus these bank-held assets that are barely being held together and there's green water in the toilet. So there's two tiers of market: an investor market for the bad stuff, and then this homeowner market that is still out there. I mean, I know things have slowed down, but it's going to be it's not going to be a real deep trough that we're entering, in my opinion. I think we're going to pick up steam. The demographics are just too strong. There's too many people moving to Austin, Texas for our market to fall apart like it did in 1989. In 1989, we were the leading U-Haul departure point in the United States. You paid a significant premium to take a U-Haul out of Austin in 1989. And now you're paying a premium to bring it to Austin because you look around, there are U-Hauls everywhere. So we are still picking up people just dramatically in Austin. So we've talked a little bit about that. Let me get back to that equity point. Just because you paid $325, it's now appraised at $315. But I can produce a report that shows that there are a dozen other houses very similar in size and location that are appraised at $285.
When do you need the comps?
When do you need the comps?
Do you need it when you have your appointment or when you actually mail your protest?
I would have everything in my hand the first time I walk in that building, because you want to settle when you deal with the staff. You do not want to go to the ARB if you can avoid it. I mean, it is random, capricious, and arbitrary at the board. You don't know what's going to happen.
So if I mail mine on Monday, I have to include the comps?
Yes, absolutely. You better when you walk in the door. Now, Travis at least gives you a break between the day you are scheduled for an informal hearing and your formal hearing. Williamson does not.
I think he's saying when you submit on mail, that you already have to have that.
I apologize. I misunderstood the question. I thought it was your presentation. Thank you, sir, for clarifying that. He's asking, when do you need to give them the comps? And that is at your first meeting, not with the protest. You never want to declare a value on your notice of protest. All you want to do is indicate, I'm very dissatisfied with this. But you don't want to give them any evidence to shoot you with later. So, and if you put a value on there, and then subsequently find out that you really, the data says you ought to be lower than that, oh, they'll beat you over the head with that number you wrote down there. So you do not want to give them that. Yes,